Hey everyone, today I'll be giving you guys an introduction on Gundam Rust Horizon, a 2022 Gundam manga that's still going on. It takes place during the 1 Year War, and really kinda gives off 08 MS Team vibes. With all that being said, let's get into it. Our story opens shortly after Garma Zabi's death. Zeon is coming to grips with the first major loss in their leadership, and they're trying to use that to rally against the Federation for this crime. Our first main character, Nanao, shows up, a Federation mechanic repairing a Type 61 tank. He aptly states that Zeon are the ones that started the war, so it was actually the Zabi's fault that Garma died in the first place. Then we get introduced to the rest of our crew, Ensign Feld Low, Lieutenant Clay, and Commander Zhu Grand, currently deployed in the Grand Canyon region. At this point in time in the war, there was a big land battle between the Federation, trying to regain ground, and the Zeonic occupiers, who got a lot of traction early on in the war because they had mobile suits that the Federation couldn't keep up with. Our heroes reveal that they're currently a unit without a leader, and their current operations goal is to rendezvous with their new commander, coming in from space. But they quickly found out that his dropship was attacked, so it's turned into more of a rescue mission than a rendezvous. As they head over in the direction of the ship, they talk about the new commander. It turns out that they don't have a lot of faith in him, with rumors being spread that he only got promoted because he's related to General Revel through marriage to his niece. But before they can finish this conversation, they're interrupted by armed men on horses approaching. They immediately assume that these men are part of the neutral faction not sided with the Federation or Zeon, a group of anarchists occupying the mines in the area and selling resources to get by. These supposed anarchists begin striking up a deal. They say that they know where the ship landed, and they'll tell the soldiers in exchange for rations. After some bartering, they all agree and head to the site together. When they get there, they see two Zeon soldiers interrogating Officer Leo Baranok. And it's like a fake French name with no real pronunciation, so I'm just gonna kinda try to say it like that. They ask him where his pilot of his dropship is, but he says that the pilot left him behind because he's injured. After sedating Leo, they then search his vessel, and our group watching notices that the Zeon soldiers have 4 Zaku's and start scrambling to come up with a plan. They only have 2 GMs and a tank. They're clearly outnumbered and outmatched, and calling for reinforcements is a no-go because of the Minovsky particle interference. They contemplate abandoning their new commander, as it's not worth their lives, but they're forced to take action when a ship appears overhead to spot them. They shoot it down before it can relay their location, but doing so alerts the Zaku's, and the battle begins. Despite having both the high ground and intel advantage, things don't go too well. Nanao in the tank misses his shots and only skims the enemy. Feld tries to snipe, but his shot is deflected, and then after a responsive shot, his GM's arm is blown off. Then the Type 61 takes a hit, completely immobilizing it, and Nanao desperately exits the tank in an attempt to fix it. That's when one of the anarchists approaches. He takes Nanao's headset and introduces himself to the unit as the real Leo Baranok. He clarifies that the man in the officer's uniform, taken by the Zeons, was his pilot, and he swapped uniforms with him to trick the Zeons into sparing him. The idea being that they're less likely to murder a higher-ranking officer than a soldier. He tells everyone that he has a plan, and they need to follow his orders in order to win, showcasing impressive grit. He first orders Zhu and Feld to retreat in separate directions. So they do, and in response, the Zeon squad splits up as well, with 2 Zaku's following each GM to maintain the numbers advantage. And this is just as Leo planned. He orders his homie to set off the explosives, causing the ground under the 2 Zaku's to break apart. In the confusion, the main leader Zaku drops its gun, also just as planned. And then Commander Zhu sees this and takes the opportunity to shoot the gun, causing a chain reaction explosion and wiping out both suits nearby. Then it's a simple matter of maneuvering, and the final 2 Zaku's are finished. Leo's smart planning completely turned the tides from a one-sided slaughter of his team to the opposite. He then explains that he traded supplies with the anarchists to have them set up explosives in old mining sites, and that the Zaku ultimately dropped its weapon due to a control bug, all the way back from when it was a construction machine. The other soldiers are just baffled at how a Nepo baby and a former civilian knows all of this, and he basically brushes this off, saying that he got lucky with stuff he just happened to know. And then the previously skeptical squad thank their heroic commander with open arms, now re-encouraged to keep fighting. And at the end of this prologue chapter, we cut ahead to the future, to a battle between them and Zeon leader Theo Grand, working under Kycilia Zabi, and they're fighting over a coffin with Iselina, Garma's girlfriend's, corpse in it. And Theo says that he wants her corpse because she has the womb which will conceive Garma's children.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
And I'm just gonna be honest with you, we still don't know the full implication of this. Is she secretly alive somehow? Are they gonna clone the sperm left behind in her corpse? Who knows? I guess we'll find out. And then a black mobile suit emerges out of the smoke. And this goes on for a few more chapters without actually properly introducing this mobile suit, but I'll tell you now because that's probably why you're here, right? This Black Gundam is called the Rust, a hybrid suit made of recovered materials from White Base and other Federation suits, repurposed to fight for Zeon. And the thing about it is that it definitely is a pseudo Gundam and not an actual one, with its particular weakness being in its fragility. The suit itself has weaker armor than a GM, but its main feat is in its speed. It uses knives and blitzes all of its foes, and so far we haven't seen it use any projectile weapons. Presumably, it won't be able to use beam weapons like the RX-78 can due to its lighter frame and the lack of Zeon intelligence on that in this point in time, especially since the Earth detachment of Zeon is so far away from the home factories on Side 3. Overall, it's a pretty grounded and interesting mobile suit. It's not just fan service, and even if it was, it's just awesome. It's almost like a Titans faction Gundam with how black it is, but it's just cool. The Rust's pilot is the last main character that didn't appear directly in Chapter 1. Her name is Remia Lon, a Zeon prodigy athlete, an orphan that was raised up to be a soldier ever since her academy days, similarly to Char or Garma. But the really fun and just best thing about her so far is that she's not a politically minded person. She's a very selfish and emotional person. The only thing on her mind is Isolina, her best friend from her school days. And she's definitely giving off like butch lesbian Yuri vibes, like that she liked Isolina and Isolina didn't like her back. And this probably won't ever be explicitly stated, but like, look at this panel, bro. So far, she's been a humble, good person, just positioned on the opposite side of our heroes. And the other thing about her is she's a very youthful and angsty person, almost like a Zeon reflection of Amuro. And she's really one of my favorite characters. From here on, the story becomes about pitting Leo and his unconventional plans against impossible odds, and just really unique, fun, out there situations. Chapter 2, for example, focuses on him trying to procure supplies in Las Vegas while heavily underfunded. And this goes in a completely unexpected and odd direction. Like, they start picking up chicks, and I think that's amazing to have in a Gundam story. It's like pseudo-espionage, and I think that's awesome. And yet another chapter has like Butcher from The Boy show up for some reason. That was a terrible impression, I'm sorry. And really, I just think it's awesome that all of the characters in this are down to earth and likable. Leo himself is definitely inspired by Shiro Amada, but I think he's even more down to earth than Shiro is. We quickly learn that he's already a parent because he's already married and his daughter is sick. So we really want to see him make it back from the war, and we want to see him push through all these crazy situations. So overall, my thoughts on the story is that it's great. It's just completely grounded, with its only prerogative being showing soldiers fighting on Earth. There's no new types, there's no grand politics, and I think that's exactly what people, especially in the USA, want from the franchise right now. We have so many Space Odyssey stories from the franchise that this is really refreshing. And on the artwork side of things, it's also amazing. It's sleek and modern, and the mobile suit fights are really easy to follow. And man, the character designs are also just godlike. It meets the right middle ground, the perfect middle ground for Gundam, of anime expressiveness and gritty realism. So yeah, I love this manga so far, and I think that you guys will as well. So I recommend checking it out. As always, buying physical copies supports the franchise, and there are also ways for you to support fan efforts to bring over good content like this to fans like us. That's all I've got for you guys today though. If you enjoyed this video, I appreciate subscriptions, likes, comments, all of the stuff you hear a billion times per day. My current goal is 2,000 subs, but I'm just glad to talk about stuff I love with you guys. God bless y'all. Peace.